Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, Lunadia33. Today we're going to go over the last of my Major Arcana cards. We did the first half a while back, so in this video we're going to do the rest of the Major Arcana, which will complete the Major Arcana cards. If some of you may or may not know, I have my iPad here, if you're wondering why I keep looking this way. I do also have 2 extra cards going with my tarot deck, but I'm not going to reveal those unless they get unlocked in the Kickstarter when the Kickstarter launches. So today we're just going to look at the rest of the majors, but not the extra cards. As usual, I'll show the sort of like the teaser picture that I usually show on my Instagram when I say that I'm done with a card. And then I'll go ahead and present the actual card, and we'll just talk a little bit about each of the cards too, not too much into detail, but enough blabbering, let's get to it. So the first card that we're going to do here is the Wheel of Fortune. With the Wheel of Fortune card, right off the bat, I kind of thought of the spinning wheel in, I'm forgetting the freaking fairy tale. It's not Cinderella, I keep mixing it up with Cinderella. Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty. But right off the bat, when I thought Wheel of Fortune, I thought of the I think it's called the spinning wheel, spindle wheel, one of those. The wheel, you know what I'm talking about. So that's what I chose for my Wheel of Fortune. I put a spinning wheel here, and I have the iris eye sort of incorporated within the actual wheel. I also have clouds, I believe. You know what? Hold on. Let me get the original artwork so we can compare, because I'm sure there's clouds in that card. One second. All right, so I have the original artwork, you know, for comparison purposes. So if this is the original Wheel of Fortune, you know, there's clouds there and all that. You got the wheel. So I just felt the need to incorporate the clouds in my card too. So I just have a little bit of clouds. I have 1, 2, 3 on the card there. And as usual with the majors, I do add the zodiac, planetary and elemental symbols associated to the majors. So you'll see that on all of the major cards here. And I did try to stick with adding things around the titles too for the Major Arcana. So here for the Wheel of Fortune, you see a bunch of wheels by the title there. Now, as far as colors go, with the Wheel of Fortune, I saw various colors. I saw like rainbows, sort of. And again, I'll dive deeper on that when I actually work on the book and when I do a flip through of my own deck. But just to not keep the video too long, I just felt rainbows for the Wheel of Fortune, and that's why you see rainbow colors in the card. So the next card is the Justice card. Now with the Justice card, I did have a bit of difficulty trying to figure out what colors made sense. And for some reason in my dreams, I kept being told salmon or the color salmon. But when I started drawing it and coming up with the design, the color salmon didn't really make sense or even look right. I started to research more into the meaning of justice as well as color theory and all that jazz. And the colors that I felt fit more were emerald and different colors or shades of jade. So in Justice, we have emerald and jades. Jades, you know what I mean. But anyways, other than the colors, if you can see in the drawing here, it is an hourglass. And in front of the hourglass, you have the sword, and here you have the sword pointing down. I believe in the original artwork, they have the sword pointing up, which I'll show in a little bit too for comparison. And then if you look on the sides of the hourglass, incorporated with the hourglass too, it's the scales. So on one scale you have the feather, and on the other scale you have the heart. And around the title of Justice, I have a bunch of feathers as well. Now this is the original, oh, sorry about the glare. The original Justice artwork here, right? But we usually see them with the sword pointing up. But for mine, I just felt it made more sense with it pointing down. So that is my Justice card. Next we have the Hanged Man. Now in my deck, I am renaming it to the Hanged One. Now with the Hanged One, I did have a bit of difficulty. I have 2 versions of the Hanged One that I'm going to show you, and then I also need your help with voting on. Now me personally, oh that kind of hurt. Me personally, I like my there's a before and an after hanged one, if you'd like to see it that way. So the before hanged one, you'll see in the image here, it's a caterpillar preparing to do its cocoon for its transformation. The colors that are in here incorporated is, I think it's called sea foam. It's kind of like a sea foam green and a light sky blue, as well as white and a little bit of gray. So those are the colors I chose for the hanged one. And if you could see at the base of the caterpillar's head, it's that sort of like yellow aura glow that we see on the original artwork, which I'll show you right here for comparison. So you see how they have the halo there? So I wanted to incorporate that with mine, and I added sort of the yellow halo look to the caterpillar at the base of their head as well. Now again, with this one, I was kind of like, my original idea was to do the caterpillar already in its cocoon, but the cocoon be sort of like a cocoon of eyeballs, if that makes any sense. However, it didn't come out the way I wanted it to, and that's why I kind of need your help with voting on which ones you guys like best. Me personally, I like the before, when the caterpillar is working on its cocoon. If you guys like the after, let me know in the comments. Whichever one gets a more popular vote, that's the one that's going to be included in my tarot deck. But as of right now, I'm kind of leaning towards the caterpillar as it's working on its cocoon, as opposed to the cocoon of eyeballs. Originally, I wanted the cocoon of eyeballs because the idea just made sense to me in my head, but it didn't come out properly on paper to me. It was probably because I was more drawn to the hanged one as the caterpillar working on its cocoon rather than the actual cocoon already. Like, I kind of already liked what I did already, if that makes sense. So I think that's why I felt like I didn't focus much on the other version of the card. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys, but let me know in the comments, please, which one you prefer. Do you prefer the caterpillar hanged one, or do you prefer the cocoon hanged one? Me, I prefer the caterpillar, but I am letting you guys decide which one is your favorite, so I can see which one will be the one going in the deck. So please, let me know in the comments. But that is my hanged one. Next is the death card. So with my death card, of course, y'all know there has to be a skull in there somewhere. Now the colors that I felt more drawn to the death card were different variations of fuchsia and reds, but not like dark toned reds, more like how do I explain it? Well, I'm sure you can see it on the screen. It's not like a harsh solid red color. It's a variation of reds. It's kind of like the between of red to purple or to violet, like between those colors. Hopefully you guys can also see on the screen when I'm showing it to you, but the way I did the background kind of looks like, it might sound gross, but it kind of looks like you're seeing through the skin, or when you close your eyes and you look into light or the sun, you can kind of see your veins or arteries, whatever you call it. That's sort of what I was going for with the background for the death card, because I wanted to also incorporate how, for example, the eyes of like what a baby might see when they're in the womb, things like that. I mean, I'm not totally sure if that's what they see, but that's what I thought of also when I was, working on my death card. So that's why I chose the background behind my death here. Hopefully that makes sense. Just for comparisons too, I have the original death card artwork here. Of course, there's a skull right there, or a skeletal figure, and then you have the flower. So with my death card, I just chose to focus with the skull instead of like a full skeletal figure. And for my flower, I chose a rose because, as some of you may or may not know, roses are a big thing around death as well. It also depends on the color of the rose too. There's symbolism in colors, which is one reason why I'm doing the deck this way. That's incorporating like color theory and the symbolism or psychology behind colors. I chose a rose. I'm not really sure what this flower is. If anybody knows, let me know in the comments, but I'm not sure what this flower is. But me personally, when I think of death or anything revolving around death, I think of roses. That's just me though. And around the border of the death title, I guess you can call it, is a lot of roses as well. And if you see really closely, hopefully you can see there's little tiny skulls too. I just thought I'd throw that in there. Why not, right? Why not? But that is my death card. So the next one is Temperance. This is one of my favorite ones in my majors. I love the colors, the way that the colors pop. Hopefully it comes out that way too when they get printed, but this is one of my favorite ones. So with my Temperance card, I have the two, I guess they're called goblets, cups, whatever you want to call it. But I have the two goblets. Goblets just sounds weird. I'm just gonna call them cups. So I have the two cups that we're used to seeing in Temperance card right here. Right, 1, 2, and sort of pouring into each other. And then if you look here, 1 foot on land, 1 foot on the water. Now with my Temperance card, I did of course want to include the cups, the whole like pouring motion of the water. So I have the two cups there. Within the cups I have koi fish coming out, and with the koi fish I also tried making their fins look like wings to reflect the wings on the angel. And out of the cup on the top you see sort of the water starting to come out. I tried to like make the water in a way as if it's touching or hitting both cups, and the flowers are symbolizing the earth that we see in the Temperance card here, that, you know, they're touching the earth as well as the water, sort of to like show the balance. Not only that, but the colors that I chose too were also to show balance between two very different elements, which is water and fire. So that is my Temperance card. It's one of my favorite ones in the Major Arcana, aside from the other ones that I talked about, but this is one of my other favorite ones. I love it so much. The next one is the Devil. Now with the Devil card, I did have a bit of issues. The Devil card was actually my last card in the Major Arcana that I worked on, which I mentioned on my Instagram stories. And I also mentioned on Instagram that when I was working on the Devil card, I found myself in sort of like the energy that comes from the Devil card, you know, when you're feeling at your lowest, when you're feeling temptations of certain things, depression, things like that. So unfortunately I was in that mindset when I found myself motivated enough to work on the Devil card and to see what the Devil would look like to me. Before I drew the Devil that I saw and felt, I knew they had 6 eyes and at least 4 to 6 horns, but I never I couldn't see them. I always saw like a shadow figure, but I could tell that they had 6 eyes and at least like 4 to 6 horns. And again, like I said, until I got into that mindset, that like devil energy, the whole depression, all that stuff, all that gunk, is when I was actually able to see them. And I think it's pretty cool that in the card here, it's kind of like they're coming at you. You know, they're revealing themselves to you. So my Devil card looks kind of freaky, but you know, I think it's pretty cool. Hopefully you guys think it's cool too. So here you have, again, like I said, this creature or thing that has 6 eyes and 6 horns. And it's like creepy looking hands coming out. And out of the nails, I guess, or the fingers, it's kind of like webs coming out, as opposed to what we're used to seeing in the original Devil card. We're used to seeing chains here. They're obviously not coming out of the Devil's hands, right? But what's binding them or holding them is chains. In my Devil card, I saw webs. Very thin webs too, very like fragile looking webs. Thin enough for you to be able to like free yourself from it. Now, if you can see, on the bottom you have 2 hearts. So the heart on the right, hopefully it's your right because it's my right. The heart on the right represents the male energy here. Well, hopefully this is your right because it's in my right. I hope that makes sense. But the heart on the right on my card represents the male energy here, and it's also the burning heart that we see in the strength card, the heart of the lion. If you guys haven't seen that video, go check it out. You'll know what I mean. It'll make sense. But it's representative of the flames here, because you can see the flames on this side for the male energy. For the female energy, I believe these look like grapes here. So kind of to show fertility, abundance, all that jazz. And in my card, like I said, the heart on the right is the flaming heart to represent the male energy that we see in the original artwork. The heart on the left is surrounded by flowers to kind of represent the fertile, blooming kind of motherly energy or vibes. And instead of using chains, I'm using like those very thin, fragile webs that are coming out of the devil's hands and sort of creating like a tornado around the hearts. But even though it's a tornado, you know, that's around the hearts, the webs, to me at least, are so thin that you can easily still break free. For example, the male, the flaming heart, you can break free with your passion, right? You can start off breaking free with your passion. The female energy, the one that's like full of abundance and flowers and growth, you can break free simply with your growth, right? At least that's how I see it. I'm probably diving too deep into it, but then again, that's the point of my deck here. It's to open up your third eye, your mindset of how things may or may not be, or what they may or may not seem. Sounds confusing to some, but it'll make sense eventually, I promise. But hopefully this makes sense in my devil card. But yeah, and as far as the colors go, I saw grays, a lot of black tones, deep indigo blues, which you'll see at the bottom. And around, I'm not sure if you guys can see it very well, but around the title of the devil card, you have webs, black webs as well. So that is my devil card. I am talking so much. My throat is getting dry. I still have so many cards to go. The next card is the Tower card. Now with the Tower card, I repurposed one of my very, very old artworks. I think I made it or finished it in 2008. I wish I could have found it to like show you guys. It's like in one of my portfolios dug up in one of my other offices, but it's from 2008. And at the time when I was creating that set, it's a set too. There's like 4 or 5 drawings that come in that set. But when I was creating it, at the time I was thinking of the Aztecs, their temples, the human sacrifices that they would make on those temples and things like that. So when I was looking through my artwork at the time, I felt that this one in particular from that set was the Tower, for me at least. Hopefully it is for you guys if you decide to get the deck or if you feel drawn to my deck. But that's what I felt made sense for the Tower, so I chose this for my Tower card. The temple that you see here would be representative of one of the temples, one of the Aztec temples, at least like the way I saw it. I'm not sure if any of them really look like this, but again, this is just like in my mind's eye how I created it. Initially, it would be a Aztec temple where they would have done, you know, the sacrifices, the human sacrifices. I also saw flaming snakes coming out of the tower at the time. So there you see the 3 flaming snakes coming down. And at the base of the tower where the sun would rise, I have a flaming eyeball. That would essentially be the sun, is the flaming eyeball rising. It sounds really weird, I know, but hey, that's the beauty of art, right? It doesn't make sense, but it looks beautiful. Now, just to show you guys the original artwork here in the Tower card, I did also want to include the lightning here. And as far as the fire goes, that's represented in the fire snakes that I showed you guys. And if you see on the top right corner, you'll see like the lightning strikes, like the white lightning strikes there. And around the border of the title or the Tower title, you'll also see a bunch of lightning strikes. As far as colors go for the Tower card, I saw reds, like bold, hot reds. I saw yellows and oranges, but more so representing either a sunset or a sunrise. And I also saw indigos or indigo blues, but not necessarily as deep as they would be in the devil card, if that makes sense. Initially, to me, at least now when I look at it, it kind of looks like, you know, when you look at sunrises or sunsets, depending on the angle that you see the sunrise or sunset, it creates a vast majority of colors in the sky. And that's what I felt when I was looking at my tarot card here. Because like I said, the oranges and the yellows that you kind of see peeking out there look as if it's a sunrise or a sunset. Hopefully that makes sense, but that's what I was seeing and what I was feeling when I was creating the tower card. But that is my tower card. Next is the star card. So with my star card, I mainly focused on pretty much the star itself. So like smack dab in the middle, you see a star, an eyeball with a star inside of it too. And I also added the other 7 stars that we see in the original artwork, which I have right here. See how there's 7 stars around the main star right there. You also have that sort of balance going on that we see on the Temperance card too, where they have part of their body on land and the other on water. Now in my star card, to represent the whole, I guess, integration or the balance between earth and water, I kind of had like droplets coming out of the star or the eye here, the eye star, the star eye. The eye of the star. It's kind of as if they're crying onto the earth, and the earth here would be the sunflowers that you see below. Just because they're crying doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative thing, right? Tears do not always mean sadness. These can be tears of happiness, tears of frustration, tears of anger. It can be many things, and that's the beauty of it, right? Because you read it the way you feel makes sense. So that's what I saw and what I felt for my star card. As far as the colors go, I chose to go with cobalt blues, like strong, bright blues. And I also chose soft and subtle violets as well. Hopefully it's showing up on the screen for you guys, but I tried to mainly have the blues pop for the star card. But that is my star card. All right, the next card is the moon card. Now in my deck, I did rename the moon card to Luna, which means moon. Luna in Spanish is moon in English. So in my moon card, I sort of focused on the lunar moth. So what you'll see here is 3 lunar moths, and within their wings, you have eyeballs as if they're looking at you, all freaky looking, freaky cool. And then at the base of the lunar moth, you also have a big old moon. Within the moon, you also have an eye. And around the title of the moon, or Luna here, you also have a bunch of little stars, which as you can see closely, it's the star from the star card. There's also a bunch of little moons as well around the title. As far as colors go, I went with a strong violet color as well as a soft fuchsia color. But the main color I tried to have pop out more with the Luna card is the violet. That is my Luna card, which is the moon card in my tarot deck. All right, the next card we have is the sun card, which I have also renamed in my tarot deck to Sol, which means sun in Spanish. Sol in Spanish means sun in English. It is also, ironically, the nickname of my mother. And she also, ironically, loves sunflowers. And in my sun card, aka Sol, I chose a beautiful big sunflower. Within the sunflower, it's of course an eye with, light glistening from its eye as well. And as some of you may or may not know, I'm not entirely sure if how true this is, but sunflowers love to face and look at the sun. So with the eye here, you see the glistening in the eye as if it's looking at the sun, which I thought was really cool too. For my sun card, I just chose a beautiful big sunflower, which was also one of my old drawings that was going to be going to my mother, that was initially gonna be gifted to my mother is what I meant. This card just gives me more, to me personally, my like vibes of my mom. And I don't know, I just felt like a sunflower just really made sense to me for my sun card, and as well as calling it Sol. So that is my sun card. Oh, I didn't even show you the original, just for comparisons, because why not? Here, I'll move it here. So this is my sun card here, and this is the original right here. That is my sun card. The next card is my judgment card. Now with my judgment card, if we look into the original artwork here, right, you have your angel up top with the horn blasting away, calling the dead here to get up and get working, or whatever the hell they gotta do. But the things that stuck out to me was obviously the horn, right, the big old red wings from the angel here. The clouds also stuck out to me, and the fact that the people that they're calling upon are kind of like raising their arms, you know, like, yes, bitch. But that's what stood out to me. So in my judgment card, like I said, since the horn stuck out to me in the original artwork, I pretty much stuck with the horn, and the horn itself has the wings of the angel. And on the original artwork here, if you can see, the angel's hair kind of looks like fire, doesn't it? It looks like flames, especially with the colors going on there. So instead of like using hair, I added behind, well, first I added the flaming eyeball there that's kind of peeking out of the horn, right? Just a little bit. But if you see behind it, I also added an aura of light to represent the flames or the light that we, or even the halo that we would see on this angel here. So I have the horn, we have the angel wings, and like I said, the people reaching out, that stuck to me. I chose skeletal hands reaching out, and if you could see, one of them is actually like touching the horn, like they're ready to take on this journey, you know what I mean? Now at the base of the title of Judgment, I have droplets falling down. I also have like a hint of blue down there too, just a little bit, like a sky blue, a soft, subtle blue. But the main colors in my Judgment card, I chose to go with like a burgundy, deeper red, as well as some orange and slight yellows. The yellows mainly due to the halo that's going on at the top. But the main colors here, I chose to go with like a deep burgundy red, a little bit of white, and some orange. The main color though here is definitely around the family of red. And last but not least, in my major arcana is the World card. Now the World card, I thought of rainbows too. I just saw rainbows, the world being a colorful, beautiful place. There is a lot of beauty hidden in things that most people don't tend to pay attention to. But I felt rainbows, I felt earthy vibes, flowers, light. I tried to also incorporate most things of the elements in one. If we look at the original, just to compare it to mine, you sort of have a representation, of course, of all the elements here, right? You have the lion, fire energy, the toro here, the Taurus, earth energy. You have the eagle, sort of for air energy. And then you have, who's over here? Either a person or an angel there, which in this case would represent sort of water energy. But initially, I'm just getting, you know, a balance of all the elements here with the World card. So that's what I was kind of going for with my World card. One, by incorporating all of the colors of the rainbow that I could at least fit in this card, and also trying to incorporate just hints of the elements. So again, we have the flowers for earth. You have the dragons here, two dual dragons kind of intertwining to represent fire. the wings of the dragon to also represent air. And as far as representation of water, if you look closely within the dragon as they're intertwining, there's my eyeball fish. So I have my eyeball fish that would represent water, and the moon at the base can also represent the element of water too. I'm not sure if there's a moon card in this. Not a moon card, but a moon in the world card here. There's no moon in here, but I have seen a moon in some other world cards, but I chose to add a moon in my world card. But yeah, I had a lot of fun doing my world card. This is also a drawing that I did, how long ago was it? I don't know if it was in 2008 or 2006, because I don't have that drawing anymore. I will include a picture of the original drawing where this dragon came out of, this dual dragon with floral wings. I will include an original, or my original drawing that had this dragon in it that I sold many years ago when I didn't know, how to sell artwork or how that worked. I'm kind of bummed that I sold it for like very cheap. And it was an 18 by 24 piece of art. But anyways, enough blabbering about that. But this is one of my old artworks too, from way back in the day, that I felt made sense to add in my tarot deck. And in this case, it became my world card. So that is my world card. That completes my major arcanas for the Iris Tarot. I did actually also finish my Suit of Cups, which I'll be doing a video on pretty soon. I'm currently working on the Suit of Pentacles as I'm filming this, which hopefully that'll be out soon too. I did just want to remind you guys, if you can please vote on the Hanged one, whether you like the Hanged one with the caterpillar, which would be the before version, or if you like the Hanged one as the cocoon, which would be the after version. I personally like the one with the caterpillar as it's working on its cocoon, because it has like its little, I guess, silk webs, trying to work on the cocoon. I also think it's really cute. I'm leaning towards that one, but I do want to ask for your opinions if you guys care or not, which one of those you prefer, and also which one of these major arcanas from the Wheel of Fortune to the World card you would like to see as a print. These prints would be sold on my website, which is always linked in the description down below. They will also be available on the Kickstarter. All of the prints that are gonna be in Kickstarter will also be hand signed by me. Any prints that are purchased through my website directly are not hand signed. That's the only real difference there. If you guys have favorites that you would like to see as a print, let me know in the comments down below so I can work on that. And also, like, just in general, which you feel is your favorite. Which one do you feel drawn to more? Why do you like that one more? Why do you feel that one resonates with you more? Or why that artwork resonates with you more? Stuff like that. I'd just be really interested to get to know pretty much your feedback on how this deck or this artwork calls to you. Well, that is it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!